what can I eat to make my skin better? So I, went from gluten-free, dairy-free, gluten-free and dairy-free. Then I thought eggs were causing my problem. And then I thought, well, I'll try a raw diet, which actually was okay for my constitution and being in Brisbane. I stripped a lot of fat. My veins were popping out of my skin. And then I was really strict on a vegan diet. And then I thought I'll just do smoothies. And the Vata in me kept on changing the type of diet, not really giving it a chance to sink in. And I also wasn't guided. So this was my big lesson, especially as a therapist, is that sometimes it can be really hard to admit that you've got something wrong with you, and that you don't have it all together and that you need to seek help. But I actually progressed a lot faster when I invested my time and my money in seeking the right external help and people who weren't, who were more emotionally minded. So really understanding and being able to communicate how emotions play a role in how your physical body presents. So I left this job early, and thankfully I was working for an amazing osteopath who could see that. It was just you're just telling me you're not really happy, but I'm not taking it personally. So I left, and the big thing was my work. Wanting to work with the emotions, wanting to take my clients deeper, feeling like I was restricted in this little registered scope of practice box as an osteopath, and just worrying, what are people going to think if I start delving into this stuff? But I had a chance to dabble in it over a few years with different clients and just testing it out. And as I started to see the results, my work became so much more satisfying, because I was at a point where I was thinking, I'm going to quit being an osteo. I'm going to find and do something else. So again, this is a process. This started 9 years ago for me, but I really catalyzed this work just over a year ago. So I had the intentions of moving back to Wanaka, and I think I planned my business for a good 3 years, because we decided to have a baby, Violet, who's almost 7 now, and I was how do I want this business to look? Do I run a business the way people are telling me to do it, or do I run the business the way I want to? Because this deeper work really is about getting aligned with your purpose, your passion, and doing and expressing what it is you really want to, without the fear of criticism and judgment, just being okay with the risk of criticism and judgment coming up. And thankfully I haven't had too much come up since putting this work out there. So fast forward, I set up a clinic, and I was a sole practitioner. It's now grown to 2 clinics and multiple practitioners, but I just went for it with this mind-body connection work, always talking about emotions. Every single client that came my way, regardless of whether or not they wanted to hear it, would hear about emotions playing out in their body, just planting the seed. I could still do awesome hands-on therapy and help them with their musculoskeletal problems, but whenever it got to a certain point and we were hitting a wall, or they had been to seeing all the different therapists out there and not getting results, it was time to get into the uncomfortable stuff and talking about emotions and how they get stored in the body, and then actually processing them. So the emotional release process is what I'm going to take you through tomorrow on the masterclass. So if you haven't registered, make sure you go to the link in my bio. It's 11 a.m. New Zealand time on Sunday. That I'm going to take you through in depth, because everyone talks about awareness, being mindful, having stress in your body, but no one really tells you what to do with all of those emotions. So you kind of just are left hovering, left in your discomfort, wanting something more, but not really knowing what to do. So as I started to express myself more in my work, my skin started to improve. And then, I still get little flare-ups, but whenever my skin flares up, I know exactly why it's flared up. I reflect back and go, what was up? Where wasn't I living in line with my values? Where was I a little bit incongruent? It's not so much anymore, what did I eat? Did I have a shower? Did I use the right skin products? I don't use a lot of skin products, and there's times when I've just used water and my skin's been absolutely fine. But it is just so funny, I catch myself when I start buying things, that's when I know things are out of balance. So when you learn all this emotional work, you become so much more aware, and you catch things way before they hit crisis point and, really stop you living your life. So then what happened, I'm just going to be sharing snippets about this tomorrow, is COVID hit and our clinics shut down and I didn't know if it was going to open again. And this is where I say fear was an amazing thing, because it drove me to just go, what the hell am I going to do? And what am I really passionate about if I am going to be, what am I really passionate about if I'm going to be stuck doing something? What is it? And I know that we should never, like, one strong belief I hold is that never do anything just for the money. The money will flow. It's energetic. The money comes secondary. Belle, will I be doing practical dialogue examples tomorrow in the masterclass? I won't be doing a practical example because it's so different for everyone, but I will tell you the exact prompts that I use to get people into the flow. So, yeah, if you are joining tomorrow, just stay completely present, and there will be a replay, but it's only going to be up for a couple of weeks, and then the masterclass will be available to buy if you want to take more information on board. So, yeah, so as COVID hit and I just dove right into being in the online space, putting the word out there, starting to train practitioners who wanted a little bit more out of this work. It was really nerve-wracking. I didn't know if I could hold a group or not. I didn't know how I was going to teach this work either. It had been brewing over many, many years, but I did start to see there was a little bit of system and there was a little bit of a process that I could teach and impart this knowledge to other people. And I absolutely love sharing this knowledge with people because I have seen so many clients and I know so many people out there are still searching and wanting to find the right therapist who really understands the mind-body connection, not just at an awareness level, but actually to do the next step to take it a little bit further and help you process your emotions. So yeah, I went into the online space coaching people online, helping them shift their emotions, clearing out their mess, and it was just so satisfying. And again, my skin got better and better. My relapses were much less frequent and much less intense. And yeah, then I got into doing masterclasses like what I'm doing tomorrow and sharing on here, something that would have definitely freaked me out many, many years ago. I never thought that I would be talking to so many people in masterclasses or in trainings, but I just leapt into it. I just did it. Rather than thinking about it, I just had to give it a go. I had to know that I had given it a go and tried, even if it failed. It's all just part of the journey, rather than staying in my discomfort, because my skin was a very uncomfortable thing for me and I felt like I had tried everything from conventional to natural and I was at a loss and I was like, okay, for a couple of years, what do I have to do? Is it really that I have to just go and do my thing and express myself exactly how I want to? Because that is the whole skin thing. Get this anger out. Like, I had anger, but anger is very healthy. It's what helps you create and transform things. And I have been able to create so much since then. And I was like, man, this is probably the most uncomfortable thing. It is so much easier to go and pay someone, spend money, go take the disgusting tea, go and take the medication. That is so much easier than actually speaking my truth and operating and working the way I want to professionally. But I can tell you that that is the thing that helped me break through my skin problems. So again, I still get the odd little flare up, but I will always know what it is. And it is emotional rather than the foods that I'm eating. And part of it is also environmental. So I know that I cannot live in Brisbane again. I can always give it a go, but I would be very wary about it. Just doing those 2 stints in Brisbane really highlighted to me the impact of environment. And so this is where, again, I said I'll talk about doshas and the environment that the different doshas like to reside in. Because it's a big ask to ask someone to shift from the place that they've lived for 20 or 30 years or to move interstate or to another country, because it might actually improve your health. But anyway, with the doshas, you get to understand yourself. This work is about understanding yourself, but you do also get to perhaps understand other people around you and why they behave the way they do. It also plays into how you're going to respond to the masterclass. And, you know, if you do decide to go on and do the emotional work. What else did I learn from this experience? Just really that, to express my work, the stuff that I was really drawn to. What I teach now is not even what I used to teach a year ago or 2 years ago. I am always just so prepared for it to evolve. Like, every client that comes my way teaches me something new. Every group I hold teaches me something new. Every question that comes my way in a masterclass or on here teaches me something new as well. Michelle, I like your new username. Hi, Karen. And I'll just say a quick hello to everyone else who has come on here. Little Honey Flower, Wind Energy, Chi, Social Goods. Cool. Belle, Mel's here. And then I will wrap it up in a minute. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, this work really is about connecting with your true nature, expressing yourself, not being worried about the criticism and judgment. But first you need to clean up the emotional mess. So tomorrow I'm going to share a little bit about doshas, just enough for you to resonate with it. Then I'm going to talk about a few key chakra areas, which is what I use when people are completely lost as to what emotions they actually need to process. And then the big thing that I'm going to go over very thoroughly is the emotional release process and the questions that I use to facilitate people through an emotional release process. And I will cover a little bit about all the crazy stuff that comes out of people because it is a release process. It's more than just emotions. It's physical, it's physiological, and it's an emotional release. So I'm going to be covering that. I just wanted to share a little bit about my journey and my pain story because I want to maximize the time for teaching and Q&A tomorrow. So if you haven't joined the masterclass, go to the link in my bio. It's all over my social media, and I would absolutely love if you could share this with people, other friends who are like-minded who can't quite put their finger on it. I also joke that you can send it to your friends that you know have got issues and they're not addressing the emotions. Is just say, hey, you know, I've got this like interesting thing that I've signed up to. I've been listening to this lady. I think, you know, you would really enjoy it. So there will be a replay for those of you who can't attend. Thanks for everyone who joined me live today and your questions. And yeah, I really want to inspire you just to go and live the life that you really want to. Don't expect it to happen tomorrow or in weeks or months or a year. Like, it can happen that quickly, but don't put yourself under pressure for it to happen so fast. I really look back at this journey and I feel like it started about 9 years ago for me, and I'm so grateful that I did just get started. And it was always great in every moment along the way, but yeah, now it's even better, and I am looking forward to what it might look like in another 5 or 10 years time. So I have shared on my podcast my pain story about my skin. I thought it was very irrelevant because it wasn't a musculoskeletal problem, but the depth of this work goes beyond musculoskeletal pain. It goes into your organs, but it can also go into the mental imbalances like anxiety, depression when we stay there for too long, and behavioral dysfunctions that we might have. So these are things like eating disorders, drug and alcohol addictions, OCD, all sorts of things like that, which is really fascinating. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hi, Hillary. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you have been to one of my masterclasses, or there's a few people here who have been to my trainings before, you're going to hear something different because you always will, depending on where you are at in your journey. And I always just encourage you to surrender to the process and trust it. All right, I'll tune out and I will be on here live another random time. See you later.